gods know what.
Welcome everybody. Good morning. Hope you have a nice weekend so far. We'll just do this daily and then I will play some PvP and see what I can make work. Because in 2v2 season you can oftentimes play a lot of crazy builds and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Let's see what we can make work. And after that I have some really crazy builds for World vs. World as well. So this build is really classical, it's not that crazy. 3 months ago it was actually quite crazy, but now it's really strong. So the idea here is that you have Sage Amulet, which is really good on Elementalist because you deal power damage with all of your skills, especially on Dagger. You have a lot of power hard hitting skills as well. And then you have condition damage, really good on your Condi, burn application, also bleeding. And then of course Vitality helps a lot because you have a low health pool baseline. And the healing power is also immensely useful because you have so much passive healing, so much procs that heal all of them increase with healing power, so that's really strong. Then you can go for Relic of Demon Queen. Other options were Relic of Evasion or even Relic of Nios can be really strong because you have a lot of cleanses. Then Rune of the Forge is extremely strong and gives you toughness. You have a low armor class with Elementalist, so toughness is extremely helpful. And burning duration helps a lot with your damage. Hello, Ayoto. Otto. Welcome, welcome. And then you have Dagger, Smoldering, and Doom. You could swap some of those for either energy, cleansing, whatever you need. Those are the more aggressive options, but they're really strong and competitive because they can help you apply a lot of condition, more damage. And if you feel like you need more defensive tools, energy and cleansing are definitely worth it. But energy is actually not that strong on this build because you will see we have this trait here, which gives you endurance whenever you attune to water, whenever you apply vigor. And so you can actually get a lot of endurance passively. And energy then gets less useful because you will get almost the same amount of energy just by applying vigor, and you can apply a lot of vigor because of this trait. Every time you grant yourself an aura, you give vigor, and therefore, if I do that, you can see it. If I dodge now 2 times and my energy is almost empty, I get the aura and I get almost, let's say, a third of a dodge. If I apply 2 auras, then I will get a full dodge. And this is really good because it's better than energy in PvP. Energy in PvP only gives you 25% of your endurance, so half of a dodge. It's extremely strong that you don't really need to run energy. You can, of course, it's still worth it, but the offensive ones, especially the Smoldering and the Doom, can be extremely helpful. Depends a little bit on what classes you face. For example, if you face a lot of healing heavy stuff, Doom is extremely strong, especially in combination with Demon Queen. But if you need more healing for yourself, for example with Nios Relic, or, which is also really fun, you can go for, how is it called? Is it Mistide, I think is called. Let's see. Yeah, this one. Cleanse a condition from yourself when you successfully combo a field with a leap or blast finisher. So that means that you cleanse one condition with a lot of your skills because you have a lot of cleanses, and then you have exactly this trait here, just as a relic. If you need even more cleanses, you can go for that, but most of the time you don't because you have this trait, which cleanses a condition when you gain region. Also for allies, it's really strong. And you have this trait, again, it gives not only vigor, but also region, and then it cleanses condition. So you are really overloaded. All your aura skills are extremely overloaded. They heal, they give region, they give vigor, they cleanse a condition, they give endurance, you know? They give protection. It's just crazy what they give all the time. And there are different options how you can run this build. For example, you can go with Written and Stone because you have 2 signets, and then you get auras on them, and you get passive permanently. But if you face a lot of power pressure, you could also go for Stoneheart actually. It's also valid. But then I would swap the Signet of Air to something that is more useful. Because Signet of Air, if you use it, I mean, it's still a good stun break, don't get me wrong, but most of the time the shocking aura is also carrying you with this trait. So let's see what we face, and then we have to adjust accordingly. For example, this trait is also extremely strong stability for 3 seconds when you're tuned to Earth. That means that you get another CC immunity. So yeah, those 2 traits can be also changed depending what you need. It's a really flexible build. It's extremely strong, and it also has a lot of group support because all of those trait and Tempest also apply to your group. Together with this trait, you have a lot of help for your team. It's really good. Sorry. So Akira, so Willbender and 2v2 can be really strong. The thing is, if you can't kill your enemy in the first few seconds, let's say first 10 to 20 seconds, it's very likely that you will lose because you are burst build. You don't really have good sustained healing and stuff. So if you don't have a supporter in solo queue, oftentimes the enemy team has one or might have one, and it's over. But we can go for the next match, we can go for Willbender and test how it is. But in my opinion, burst builds only work really well if you have a duo queue partner, because then you can at least to some extent influence what they will play. That's my opinion. So if you're solo queuing on a Willbender, yes, you can make it work, but I feel like it might be worse than in Conquest, because you can't really run away. There is not much space to run away. So you have to be a little bit careful here to not overcommit at the first time, because they were in stealth, but no, I think it's fine. Try to support my teammate. Yeah, sure, I will show it after this match. Okay, this guy just died randomly away from us. Nice. Very good. Welcome, Remnant of Chaos, welcome. Yeah, I think that's the big problem in 2v2. If you play solo queue, it's heavily dependent on what teammate you get, if your build works, you know. So that's why I play this hybrid build, because it's a nice support build. It has some nice healing and cleansing, for my teammate, but still has some damage. So it's like the best of both worlds, you know. That's the idea here. If I would play a full DPS damage build, it oftentimes might be able to work because I have enough damage to kill them. But if I don't, then I'm heavily reliant on my teammate to help me survive, which is a big problem because oftentimes they are not playing a support or something. Oh, holy shit, that was a 20 confusion. I really like to see how much damage that hit me. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes you just have a lot of damage and you can't win because your teammate is just not the correct thing to do. They don't know how to help you. I mean, so if you're duo queuing, there are two options. Either you go with a full support for the Willbender and you just are somewhat invulnerable because you have a support that helps you, but then you have to deal all the damage. Or you can go the crazy variant and go two really aggressive builds and try to fully overwhelm the enemy. That works really well if skill gap is high, if there's a big skill gap. But I feel like as I'm only duo queuing, I can't really do that. I want to have some fun and play some builds that have some impact as well. And so I'm playing a little bit of a mixed option. Nice. Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. So if you have another Willbender, for example, it might work really, really well because you have so much damage that the enemies can't handle that. But of course, that's just a gamble if you're solo queuing, you know. %90 team healing. Very nice. Let's try Willbender one, but don't expect me to win because I feel like solo queue 2v2 season is just it's just rolling the dice most of the time. So we have another. I wanted to do some giveaways. Give me a second. So it should work now. Exclamation mark enter in the Twitch chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. We will do some skin giveaways again. So yeah, I would say Elementalist is really fun. So if you want to learn it, I think it's a really fun class to learn. You get a lot of payoff, especially nowadays, because it's extremely strong in all game modes. It has multiple builds that work really well in PvP right now. Sage Tempest, Heretic, Dagger, Catalyst, even Support Tempest. Those three are the best builds currently. But you can also go Hammer, Catalyst. There are so many options. And in World vs. World, for roaming, it's extremely strong. For Surging, it's extremely strong. With Staff support or Dagger Focus, it's really good. And then we have, in PvE, it's always one of the best damage builds. You have a leg heal, a leg damage. There are so many options. So I would say now is the time to learn Elementalist. For sure. Yeah, the game has changed. So if you look back at 8 years ago, there was Heart of Thorns, and I think that's it. And now it's crazy how different the game is, you know, to some extent at least. You know, the builds, how much damage there is. For example, if you look at the raids, you know, previously we struggled with Veil Guardian, and nowadays you can do it blindly to some extent because the power creep is real. So some things changed. Definitely, but I think some things stayed the same, you know. If you look at PvP, how it plays, oftentimes it feels almost the same. We have different builds, but the roles and stuff is almost the same. Yeah, exactly. So Catalyst was not that strong until, let's say, very recently. I would say the last 6 months, it became really good that the Elementalist players really enjoyed it. Before that, it was a year or so where it was really bad. Yeah. No, I actually have a different kind of mouse. It's an MMO mouse that I'm using. So it has 12 buttons on the side, so I can assign my utility and healing and elite skill on there, as well as F5, for example. So now we have I hope it's a support Scourge, otherwise we have a big problem. And we faced this one, we had it previously in our team. So let's see if we can make it work. Oh, it's a Logitech one. Yeah. Good morning, welcome. Yeah, it's I can recommend mine. It's let me quickly look it up. I think it's a Logitech 802 or something. It's really good. It's a G600. Okay, so not that you get it wrong. Welcome, chill, welcome. G600, yeah. I can recommend it. Other people like the Razer one, but in the end, it's just for the buttons, you know. And let's see. So you have to play really aggressive on a Willbender. If you don't do that, you have a big problem. Oh, that was really close. That you will just not have enough healing. Now we have a support. I think it's a support Tempest, full support. That's good for us. Now you see it's easily winnable because I bursted someone. But if I did not achieve that, and we didn't have a support, it might not work out in the end because I used all my aggressive tools, so worked out in the end. Yeah, I think it's a good, really good price and for what you get. I would really, yeah, I think it's a good one. You should get it if you are considering to buy one. Yeah, I did actually not target the Necromancer here because I knew this guy was running Renegade with color because we had him previously in my team. And this is a really, I don't know, weird choice, and they don't have that much stun breaks. So if I can CC them with my emob, or yeah, slow them down, and they have a big problem, you know. And that was exactly what I did. So I hit them for 80% of their life, you know. So they were in a really bad spot. That was the idea, but it might not work out the next time because they will adapt. And now they have a Reaper. Now I think we should go on the Reaper, just because the Reaper is a little bit slower than a Harbinger, so we can easily keep him pressured. But let's see. I'm not sure if it's more balanced, to be honest. I think now it's where's my support? Is not he's not at me. Nice, we got them. Yeah, it's actually, I don't get any damage even though when my support is not there. He's playing Scepter Warhorn, so I'm not sure if it's I don't think it's a full support. You wouldn't do that as a with Scepter Warhorn, I would say. So I would say I had some matches when it first came out. They were really unbalanced. So I had it did not matter which build I played. The enemy team was always a duo queue, and I could not deal with them. So that's what I don't like about V2s, that oftentimes if they are duo queuing and you are solo queuing, it's almost over. So now it's a power Vindicator. Let's see if we can... Okay, I actually thought that he would engage here, so... Never mind, it's over. Very nice. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was a support, because the damage is definitely on my side. I don't. So you can see it can work, but I promise you, if I queue multiple times on this build, I would say you see the difference. Sometimes you just can't make it work because the enemy team is too tanky and you will not get through them. That's just how it works sometimes, sadly. Yeah, I think that's the problem with having the ability to solo and duo queue in the same game mode, because then there's always a team that has an advantage by being able to communicate way better. So the thing here is, if they would remove duo queue from the game, especially in 2v2s and stuff, the low population would get even lower, I would say, because a lot of people, especially the high-end people, if you look at those that have 42-0, they are for sure not solo queuing, you know? So they would not have as much fun because they say, it's boring, you know, it's just throwing the dice and hoping for a good teammate. So I think it has arguments for both sides. And in the end, I would say it's better to have a higher population with a little bit of a interesting matchmaking than having a even lower population than normal and making a little bit fairer matches, because that might not be working out in the end either, because it's just too low the population. Yeah, of course, they are really strong people. You know? Don't get me wrong. They are really good. They would be really high even if they solo queue, but they are not solo queuing. You see that when they don't have a loss, that's just because they are not solo queuing. Yeah. So this build is actually really fun, but like I said, it's better in Conquest, for sure. Just because you can make more use out of your mobility. Yeah, I think if there was I'm not sure if the sale is still ongoing, Remnant actually. For Black Friday, they had a really big sale for all the expansions. Maybe you can still get them. So I would highly recommend, if you want to play the game again, to get those, because you get access to Spear and some really nice quality of life changes. For example, you can also get all your weapons now on all the elite specs. Before you had, for example, Dragon Hunter was the only elite spec on Guardian that could use Longbow, but now you can also use it as a Willbender or as a Firebrand, so the new elite specs that came with the newer expansions. Yeah, definitely. Ah, there is no sale now. Okay. Yeah, then I would say if you are really did not play the game for 8 years, then you have a lot of content to catch up even when you don't have the newest expansions. So you might just come back, try out POF and End of Dragons if you have them, and check them out and play a bit and see how it feels. Because most of the stuff that sorry. that came with the newest expansion, or the newest ones, is not that crazy. They are, I would say, way smaller and don't have that much game-changing stuff than the older expansions, because they are a little smaller, you know. They changed the model to being delivering expansions every single year, but they are smaller. Way smaller, actually. So I think you have enough content to play through, even with the newest expansions missing. Yeah. Yeah, I think Spear is that's the only thing that is really a big problem if you don't have Chancellor Waltz, because only then you get access to Spear. And every single class got access to Spear. So every 9 of the classes got Spear. And the Spear is generally, with 2 or so exceptions, one of the best weapons that you could have on this on any build, and especially on Willbender, it's extremely strong. It's just really, really good. For for example, Mesmer is also insane. The new spear is used in every single game mode because it's so good. So they definitely did a really good job with it. And we also have the cool new spear that we got. How is it called? I don't have it yet. I will craft it in a few days. So we got a new spears legendary that is somewhat cool. Not a lot of people have it right now, or not that many people have it right now. It's a little bit more to the ground, but it's a nice weapon. So everyone can use it now. Every single class can use this legendary. Really cool. Welcome, everybody. So let's see if we can make it work again, the Willbender. And if not, we will do some testing in World vs. World as well. I have some nice ideas from one of my viewers. I want to test it if that's really working. Yeah, I think it's the new spear is quite cool in my opinion, but it's really expensive right now. Oh, it was expensive. It's going down quite a bit. So if you wait, you will get it for really, really cheap. So with every single week, I would say it drops around 1k to 500 gold in value, just because a lot of the people buy the weekly locked materials and they will go down in price. And it's definitely true that the legendary starter kit is one of the best things they introduced for people that don't have the legendaries yet. That's what I mean. Now they have 2 supports and it's gonna be horrible for us. I will not be able to go through this, I would say. Maybe we will. Nice, we got him. Was close. But we have a Condi Reaper, so we had some damage over time as well. Yeah, legendary starter kits are amazing. So if you're a new player and want to go for a legendary, it's crazy. You just get the legendary starter kit and you have half of the legendary in your hands already. And it's account bounce, so you can't make gold out of it. At least not until you finish the whole legendary, which you then can sell, of course. But in the end, it's just giving you the start for a legendary. It's really good. Welcome, Roaming Spirit. Just waited for you. I will test the build in a second. Look at this. What are they playing? That's just annoying. It's just annoying. Yeah, I know. So you see, if I can't get through with my Willbender burst because they have too much barrier, too much just annoying stuff ongoing, Scepter, support, Tempest, I don't know, then it's not working, you know. I mean, Condi Reaper is not a good pair with Willbender because we don't have any support, and Condi Reaper is more a long time DPS. They want to fight for a longer time. But let's see, maybe we can win. We have to focus one. Power Reaper makes more sense with Willbender, that's for sure. Okay, we got it. It's just annoying. A lot of people always play Scourges in 2v2 and 3v3 seasons, and I really hate it. It's just, Scourge is so annoying to fight in PvP. It's not even good, you know, it's just annoying with the barrier and the AoE pressure. It's just annoying. Yeah, I think what would have been really good here is some kind of Mirage with a lot of vulnerability application, because oftentimes vulnerability can crack tanky targets really easily. Welcome, Filthy Casual. Yeah, Power Reaper is extremely strong, but I think if you don't have a support on a Power Reaper and you're fighting against some squishy targets, oftentimes you will die first just because you are so slow. You know, for example, if you fight a Power Willbender or a Power Harbinger, it might not be enough. You see, I get 6 condition instantly. What the fuck? Crazy. Yeah, PvP is 2v2 is sometimes it's just annoying. It's just annoying. I mean, my teammate does no damage, you know. I have all the top stats. I feel like Power Reaper would even be better than Conduit Reaper in this matchup, just because we want to burst them and not overwhelm them with Condies. Yeah, I as soon as I see a Scourge in the enemy team, I don't want to play the game anymore. You know, it's just, Scourge should not be allowed in competitive modes. It's just so annoying. I really have to try to clump them up, but at the same time, I don't want to do that. You see, my teammate is just getting hit by every single skill, and they don't deal any counter damage. Nice, we got them. That was a close one. Could have gone either way if I didn't get the damage there. You see, what was my teammate doing? 30% of everything, only. Yeah, the emote was really important there. If I didn't hit the emote, I think we could have died. Because as soon as my teammate is down, I can't really win that anymore. Yeah, it was a good one. Very nice. So, let's do a giveaway. I think it's time. Exclamation mark end in the chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. I give you 1 more minute. Thanks for the follow, Turtles. So where am I? And then we give away some Black Line skins that I have collected. Yeah, I try to do that. Yeah, sure. So let's see what we will give away. Like this and this. Okay. So I think around, I don't know, 25 to 40 gold. Depending a bit on how the prices changed over the last. Okay, let's see. It's time. And the winner is Rahen Ritsu. I hope you're here. Let me know your account name in the chat. Congrats to you. Don't worry, we have more giveaways to go. Very nice, you're here, perfect. And I think those Abyss Stalker skins are actually quite nice as well. So even if you don't want to sell them, it's worth it. So congrats. And we will open another giveaway. Give me a second. It's up. Exclamation mark end in the chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. We will draw the winner in around 30 minutes. So I really enjoy this build. It's a conditioned circuit, but we will try some really interesting Bladezone build. Let's see if we can make it work. So I guess you're playing with, I don't know what you're playing. Yes, I mean, I have every single class with every single race, so it's not like I'm totally off. Yes, but for World vs. World, I have this guy. It's also, if you can see, it's also my ascended weapon storage. So I have 200, I don't know, 80 ascended weapons lying around here. So it's more like my storage character that I also use for World vs. World. And I will try now to come up with some nice Bladezone build, because I heard Bladezone is actually playable for roaming. So let's see. Bladezone is, I would say, in a weird spot. So Bladezone in PvE is playable, but in all other game modes it feels like Bladezone is just a troll. But maybe I'm wrong. Let's see if we can come up with a build that makes Bladezone look crazy good. So I think the idea is to use the Storm Singer relic, because Bladezone has a lot of stuff that can move you, and as soon as you move with your not teleporting skills, you actually get the movement trigger. Yeah. So I actually, so the question is how much money I spent on Guild Wars, because I have so many gems. I actually did not spend that much. I played over 10 years, and I'm not sure how many times, maybe 300 euro or something in total. But the many, I also bought the Blackline gems for the keys, the chest keys, you know. All those stuff I actually bought with in-game gold. The reason for that is I was doing, before I started my content creation stuff, I was mainly playing Guild Wars 2 as a trading post player. And that's where I got a lot of my money. And I was spending all that money in transferring them to gems, buying back slots, buying 2000 Blackline keys, all that kind of stuff, and making all the legendaries. Now I stopped doing that completely, and I am doing only content creation. That's what it is. So it's not like I spent a lot of real money to get this. It was more like I spent in-game time to get this, and no, I knew what I was doing. So now, Roaming Spirit, let me know the build if you want to see it. So I think it's a Stormsinger with probably Marauder, but what else is it, you know? So I think, I don't know which weapons, let's see. I guess those are set. Maybe, I think Greatsword makes sense, but let's see what we can come up with. Strength is probably also really good. I really enjoyed the combination of Bladezone and this might make right, but maybe that's not in the build. Let's see what Roaming Spirit has cooked here. It's definitely Stormsinger relic. It deals 500 damage. and is also to some extent AoE. And you have some movement skills on your Dragon Trigger, but also on your break step here, which is quite nice. All of them will proc this, and if you combine that also with different stuff, then that might also work out quite well. So let's see what we have here. That makes sense, even though I don't like this trait that much because it has an internal cooldown. I really don't like this. So oftentimes you use your movement skills, you get stability and don't get use out of it. And then the next time you think, now I need it, it's on cooldown. That's why I really don't like this trait. But if you run, of course, not the Bladestone heal, then this is not good enough. That makes sense. Forceful Greatsword, of course, even if you're not running Greatsword, a really strong trait. And then this is extremely strong, 21% damage buff, that's just insane. And Demolisher gear makes sense. Even though you are heavy armor class, I'm not sure if you could compare it with a lot of... maybe it makes sense to run that with something a little bit more vitality as well. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. So which weapon do you run? Roaming Spirit. Is it Greatsword or is it some kind of yeah, because I think it makes sense to run something with more movement skills, because then all your Stormsinger procs also proc. But that's the big issue with Bladestone, is that you only have one weapon, because you have the Gun Saber. Yeah, I don't see it. That's the thing. I only see the first part. So X pistol. Okay, interesting. Let's see. We have a pistol here. Demolisher. And then you run air and fire. Such interesting. I mean, it makes sense. Makes a lot of burst damage, but I feel like the defensive capabilities are actually quite low with this build. Is that... Yeah, that's probably counting as a Stormsinger proc. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Firework or Peck. Okay, interesting. Firework gives you... Okay, wound duration. And Peck gives you precision. I think I like the precision more. Because oftentimes it feels really, really, really bad if your Dragon Trigger doesn't hit critically. Then you get stability when you disable a foe. But you don't have that much disables actually. Does it make sense to run this? You only have one good disable here. Really, the teleport also activates it? That's interesting, because normally teleports don't activate it. It's the different one, okay. It's the other one. It's with arms, okay. Okay, I have to be honest, I don't really like the arm straight line. The arm straight line is from, in my opinion, just it's just really bad. It just feels like, I don't know, it feels really bad. Because the thing is, all your passives here are also Condi based, so you can't make use out of powers. This is good, this is the best one probably. And this one, of course, then you can... It makes sense with Bladestone, but to get a whole trade going, I'm not sure. I'm really disliking the arm straight line. That's just my opinion, you know. It's you only make use out of 3 out of 6 trades. I don't really like that for the most part, you know. Don't get me wrong. I think it makes sense that your Dragon Trigger gets a full 100% crit chance. That makes sense. But at the same time, oftentimes I feel like it's not... It feels really really bad to just leave the defense straight line out. So I would definitely go for something, maybe even this, you know? Maybe even this. Just because the stability, I would say the stability doesn't make that much sense. Yes, you have the Rampage, but there you have always stability, so it's 10% damage buff only for this. You have this one. This is the only CC that you have. And this one. So you have 2 CCs that gives you stability. I'm not sure if that's enough to run this trade. It's more like on a hammer you would run this. What is this? Gain adrenaline, remove a condition. How does that work with... I actually don't know how that works with the charges. Yeah, okay, if you always get stunned after your pulse charge, then of course you get stability with it. Thanks for the follow, Sekra. I would go... I'm not sure. This trade is actually, they buffed it really hard. So stance is like... And your pain gives you now vigor. 7 seconds of vigor is actually crazy. And... that's a little bit, you know, the barrier is a little bit counterintuitive on this trade, on this one. So, maybe, maybe not, I don't know. I would say the end your pain. For example, if you go, if you don't use end your pain but use balance stance, you have the same effect that end your pain has, because you have barrier, you get immune to critical hits, and you get stability as well. So I would say maybe that makes sense. Oh, that's really hard. I'm really undecided about Bladeson, to be honest. How I can make this work. Oh, it's really interesting. I would really like to fight you with this build, just to test how you can perform against my other roaming specs. I'm not sure if you're currently against me. Probably not. We never play against each other. Just to see how this build performs against my normal builds. And I can see how bad I play it, and if it's really my skill or if it's the build itself, you know. I think the straight line makes sense. Bladeson straight line makes sense as well. I'm not convinced about the defense straight line. Ah, you're on the main of Anchorage, okay. Yeah, maybe we could go, that's a good point that Levi brings up. We could go to the Edge of the Mist. If you are not red, we could actually fight against each other. Or even if we are red, we can fight against each other. If you're online, we could do that and just check it out. If you want to do that. So because I feel like the problem is these all 3 traits are not extremely good on this build, in my opinion. This only procs with 3 different skills, so it's not like that crazy. Yeah, sure. If you don't want, it's fine. I just wanted to know if it's doable. And this trait is just not useful on Bladeson. I feel like Bladeson is in a really bad spot, just because you're you see you have actually quite a lot of damage with your pistol. But at the same time, the problem is that I feel like you can't really make use out of a lot of traits in the defense straight line. This makes sense. This is really good. This is good. This is good. So I think the defense straight line makes sense, but the last 3 traits are not that useful. I would say the last 3 traits are highly dependent on what you are running. And the last stand trait is a really weird one because it doesn't work with Defiance stance well, because the barrier doesn't help you. The duration increase is nice. I think that's why it's good. And then if you run End Your Pain, and that's the next one, but you don't want to drop your Condi Cleanse, you don't want to drop your really nice mobility, knockdown, evade skill. So it feels really bad to run this trade for just 2 stances. It's really weird. I think Bladeson is in a weird spot. I think in competitive modes, Bladeson is like way too experimental for me. It's just like, it feels like it's not working that well. But you see, the damage is there. Don't get me wrong. I think the damage is actually quite good. I think if you play that correctly, I think you can really surprise people with your damage, for sure. I think it's a weird build. I think it might be one of the best warrior builds for roaming. That might be true. But to be honest, the competition is not that high. I think warrior is in a rather bad spot for roaming. Because celestial builds are... You don't make use out of your might that much, because might is really important on a celestial build. And you don't have the boon duration anymore to keep it up that easily. Okay, I think the one is still the best one, even with the Stormsinger proc. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that makes sense, that you have barrier application with your pistol. But the pistol is also crazy damage if you can land all the bullets. But that's the next problem that I have with this build, I would say. Projectiles are really bad right now. You have a lot of elementalists running around. All of them have projectile denial. And so it's really annoying to fight those people then. Also, that's insane. We kept the whole map. Yeah, definitely, yeah. Defender Relic could make sense. You have an Aegis here, that's true. I mean, you have to be careful with Defender Relic, because Defender Relic works really well when you have a lot of block up time that you can spread out over the course of time. But I feel like if you run Defender Relic here, you lose a lot of your damage, because the Stormsinger is really proccing a lot. You have a lot of procs with this. And you have 2 H's on your Dragon Trick, that is true. But they will not both proc the full Defender, because they will be used in conjunction with each other. And Defender has some kind of diminishing returns. So every time you block and heal with it, the next block will be worse. So you have to be really careful that you don't block, because then you don't get that much healing. And then the 2 on Gunblade, they make sense. Yeah, I think it's actually crazy that they have this now as well. I would say to some extent, it's actually a valid choice, I would say. But then I would, maybe I would not go for pistol then. I don't know, maybe, yeah, the H's here. It's really hard, it's really tough. Yeah, it's procs really often, because you have those movement skills, this is a movement skill in itself. The Dragon Trigger is a movement skill, if you use the second one. And this is a movement skill. Even the Teleport Roaming Spirit set is a movement skill, which is weird, but it's so we have actually quite a lot of procs. Yeah, they count. We can test it here. Give me some adrenaline, please. You see? It's working, actually. I mean, the damage is... Holy shit, this guy is running away. They have a lot of procs, so I would say that build makes sense. I'm not sure if it's my kind of build, because it feels like it's really... you have to think a lot about how to use your skills, you can't just spam them as you normally would on a warrior, because you have to take care of your H's, of your ammunition skills. I think also... I think I'm actually surprised how much damage this build can do, but I still think against the Willbender they will lose. Just my opinion. Yeah, I know, the 4 skill resets some some damage on your 5, that is true. I think it makes sense, and don't get me wrong, I think that makes sense. I would have to train it a bit to make sure that I'm playing the build correctly and good enough so that I can give you a final verdict from my final statement. But I would say it makes sense. I'm not sure about this trait, so I would swap that definitely, and I would say the arm straight line is not my favorite one, just because it feels like definitely the weakest straight line on warrior. But the defense one makes a lot of sense, for sure. Especially this trait is so broken. I think this trait is by itself makes it worth it to run the straight line. Because resistance on dodge is just insane, you know? All your skills are so reliant on not being blinded. Yeah, the cleansing ire trait is, I don't know how it works with your dragon trigger, how when it cleanses, you know? Cleanses per charge or it cleanses it, I don't know. You know, so I would say most of the time the stance trait is the safe bet, because if you get pressured, you can use 5 seconds and 3 3/4 seconds and your pain. That makes a lot of sense in my opinion. I'm still not sure if you face a competent player, if they can dodge your dragon trigger all the time, because then your damage is actually not that high. And you're only melee, so if you face a foe that can kite you, I think that's a big problem as well. I think there's someone there maybe. Ah, it's the dragon trigger bar. Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, then it might be worth to run this. Yeah. So we have a player here. Let's see if we can fight them. Oh, he don't want to fight me. Got him. But I have to be really careful because I don't have any resustain. Except my healing skill. Nice, I got him. Very good. Exactly, he wants to be safe, but he is not safe against my build. Definitely. Yeah, I think it's... You're right that this F1 is 900 range, yeah. But it feels... I don't know. I'm not sure if the damage is comparable, for example, to a Scepter Catalyst or something, you know. I mean, it's okay actually. It's not that bad. But still, you know, if they kite you, I think all of your damage is actually, except for some attacks, is actually not working. So if you get kite, I mean, against the Willbender, I think you actually have a chance if you play it correctly, because you have so much mobility skills that they might not connect all their damage, but in the end, I think the damage is just not there. Yeah, I think it's a fun build. Yeah. Let's play some Dagger. So I think it's time for another giveaway. Exclamation mark enter in the chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. We'll give another 3 Blackline skins away. And last time we had some really nice roaming stuff. I put it also in my roaming montage that I uploaded yesterday on my YouTube channel. It's a really fun one. Dagger Catalyst. I really enjoy it right now. It's really fun. Yeah, I think the rework to the gunblade a year ago or something is actually really working. I think the gunblade is not the issue. I think the gunblade is not the issue of Bladezone. I think Bladezone issue is that the dragon trigger feels really clunky to use, because if you are fighting a good player, you won't hit it, and if you want to use it fast, it has some kind of weird delay before you can use it. It's really weird. And yes, it's weaker than, for example, Ranger hybrid spear weapon, but in the end, it's still working to some extent. It should do what it does what it should do, but the problem is you lose a weapon for it, and Warrior has so many weapons, you know. So it's the class with the most weapons it can use, you know. But you only have one weapon set because you have the dragon trigger all the time, and this is a big problem for me. That I have to use, for example, like this build, dagger, X pistol, and you can't run greatsword in the offhand. Why not give another weapon swap? You know, that you get greatsword as well, and then this build would have way more tools to work. So I think, and also the trade line of Bladezone is okay, but the other trade lines don't really work well with how the dragon trigger and stuff works. That's the big problem, you know. I would say, for example, the cleansing eye is one of the best trades on every single elite spec of Warrior. But on Bladezone, it feels really weird because you don't have that much access to when this triggers. I feel like it's just not. I'm not sure. You know, I feel like Bladezone is in a weird spot because it feels like it's not meant to be working with Warrior that well. All the other trade lines are not that helpful for Bladezone. I'm a little bit, you know. Yeah, I think staff. The problem is with staff, if you run staff, then your damage is actually, you don't have any damage anymore. It's only the dragon trigger then, and your somewhat mediocre damage on your what's it called, on your gunblade. So I think staff would make sense if you had another weapon set, but you don't, so you will lose all your damage. So that's the problem with Bladezone. Let's capture this tower, and then we will draw the giveaway winner. Let's see. But my team is apparently dying, so I guess it's not gonna work. Let's see. Yeah, I think we are dead here. I guess then we will not capture it and still get the giveaway going. Okay. Yeah, I think that they actually nerfed Bladezone, example with the stun on the dragon trigger. All that kind of stuff is actually insane because no one was using it anyway, I feel like. Okay, so now let's go for the giveaway. Hope you're all in. Let's see who is the winner. And congrats to you, Aote. Let me know your account name in chat. And then we will give you some skins. Yeah, everyone will win. Congrats, but don't worry, there will be more. I will open the next one. And it's up! Exclamation mark enter in the chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. I think now I would actually agree with you that the dragon trigger is, if you can move slowly, like for example Thief, Deadeye when they kneel. I think that would make sense. Also, I would say that the Dragon Trigger should not have a delay. So you can cast it instantly. It should only deal 2k damage or something, but you could be able to do it, you know? Because I feel like now you have some weird delay of a second or something until you get the Dragon Trigger up. And I think this is a big problem, because I feel like if I want to use my Dragon Trigger instantly, I should be able to, you know? There should not be some weird aftercast or something. And I think they maybe it would be interesting to give the Dragon Trigger, the first one, you know, not the ranged one or the movement one, but only the first one, a stun. Or so that it's not all of them get the stun, but maybe the first one only gets it. So we would have the option to stun enemies when they are a little bit bad and are not able to dodge your really important skill. That would be valid as well, you know. But I feel like currently it feels like you you get punished for going into Dragon Trigger because it's not working at all. Yeah, I don't know. At least we have some nice defenses here now. These fights is where this build shines. We have so much healing, we have so much alacrity that we can permanently heal all our allies here. And you can see how much support I can give to them with the auras, with the boons, with the endurance. I give them a lot of endurance with those traits, you know, here with those two. It's a really good build. Yeah, Dragon Trigger is really punishing how easily you can cancel it. At the same time, it also feels like it's even if you land it, it doesn't feel that crazy, you know. Previously it hit for 15k or something. And now it feels like it hits for 2k only. So. And if you get weakened or something while you are casting it, it feels even worse, you know, because you know it will not crit. At least if you're not running arms. Yeah, I don't know. I think I hope the next balance patch. What builds would you say should be for competitive modes? Which kinds of classes should they completely rework? I would say one of the top ones is Bladezone, but I also think Weaver should be completely improved. I think Weaver is extremely bad right now in competitive modes. Those two are my biggest contenders for the classes that should be reworked. What are you? Which builds would you like to see a full rework? Like, for example, the Death Magic rework in Necromancer, I would say, is one of the best examples. Before, it was really bad, or somewhat bad, and then they reworked it, and now it's used on almost every single Necromancer build, you know? And I think that is a good rework, you know? You might argue if it's good in a balanced way, because it might make Necromancer too tanky or something. That can be argued, but I think it's a good rework because people used it after that. So, Weaver should be reworked so that I would say that you have some way of giving yourself stability, because you're selfish spec, you know? Not like Tempest or Catalyst, where you can give boons to your allies. No, you are completely selfish. And you are the only elite spec that is not allowed to get stability. What? That's insane. And that's just, I think it's not working. And Bladezone is just, in competitive modes, is to some extent just, they nerfed it for no reason, because, or, you know, when EOD came out, then it was broken, but after that they kept nerfing it, even though no one was playing it. So, yeah. Really? Cube Thief? Which kind of thief do you mean? Deadeye? I think... Oh no. Yeah, I think Thief in general can be really annoying, especially in roaming or world versus world scenarios. But I'm mostly talking about which classes they should buff, because I feel like a lot of classes are working right now, so that's good. But there are some classes that are not played at all in competitive modes. I think it makes sense that Mechanist and Scourge are not played in PvP, in SPvP. I think that makes total sense. But if you look at other builds like Weaver, why can't you play a Weaver, for example? Why is Fire Weaver just completely trolling most of the time if you're playing it in PvP? So that's what I'm talking about, you know. I'm not sure. The problem is mech, if they rework mech, it would have heavy impact on PvE as well. Holy shit, that pull. That was an insane pull. Whoever pulled me there. Yeah, and if they changed mech in any way that it would make sense in competitive modes, then I would say a lot of people would be annoyed that only play it in PvE. And Rival, I think, currently is in a spot where people that are not experienced use it because it's really easy to use. But at the same time, I feel like it's a weak weapon as well. So I agree with you, they maybe should rework it, but I also think engineer weapons are in a weird spot. Just because engineer weapons are... You have hammer, which is the best option for power. And you have... Which is the ranged option? Maybe spear for Condi or something? So it's really weird which weapons are working. And pistol is weird. No one uses pistol, especially offhand. And so you are really limited in which kind of weapons you can use easily. So I think engineer weapons are generally a big problem, not only rival. Yeah, mace is actually a good weapon as well. I think mech is okay. Why can this pull me? I'm down. How can they pull me up? It's insane. I mean, which other classes are there that are really in dire need of a rework? Let me think. I mean, yeah, mech is, I would say, the utility skills of mech are crazy. For example, not only the one that gives you confusion and burning around you, but also the one that gives, how's it called? That gives you the stun break, the shift signet. 1200 range stun break. A good passive as well. Condi cleanse. Teleport, you know? That's just insane, you know? How overloaded the skill is on such a short cooldown. This is, I would say, the biggest one that sells this build for new people. Because you have such a good panic button, you know? Exactly. Even with this one really strong skill, a Willbender will still catch you. But that's a problem, not only because of mech, but it's also a problem because of Willbender, you know? I think they could keep the mobility of Willbender if they nerf the damage. If they want to keep the damage to some extent, then I think they have to nerf the mobility and the cooldowns. This is for sure the important thing they have to do. I think Necromancer has some movement skills actually. So I'm not sure if they should do that, because I feel like Harbinger is in a really good spot right now, Power Harbinger. You play sword, spear, and you have actually a lot of movement skills. You have so many that you can actually run Stormsinger Relic, which gives you damage on movement skills. So it's actually, I would say Necromancer doesn't need that much. Yeah. I think that's a good point by Anastasia. I think a lot of people, especially people that like to play minion builds, want to have the option to do so. Because currently minion builds are just a troll. If you play minion builds, it's just like saying, I don't want to play the game myself. Let's rather have a really bad build, you know? So I think they could make some really interesting minion trade line, you know? Soul Reaping, for example. Previously it was Death Magic, but Death Magic is now used so heavily with other stuff, so maybe they should give some other stuff in Death Magic, or I don't know, make some trade lines worth it to run for minions. That would be interesting. So minions are just trolling because they die so fast. Maybe you maybe make Death Magic the minion trade line again, because currently you always run the same trades. Why not give the other trades, the minion trades that are already in there, give them some more potency, a lot more potency, so that in the end you have to make a tough choice between going for the defensive one or the offensive one or the minion trade line. Because the minion trade line, for example, if they could give minions some, let's say, actives. For example, what I really like is some... I don't like a passive gameplay where people are just casting the minion once and then they just stop doing anything. Why not give the minions some kind of or a trait to you that you can proc, because you know, okay, now the damage from the Willbender comes, and then you have for the next maybe 3 seconds or 5 seconds the minions get damage immunity or something, you know, that you know your minions will not die to the burst. So some more active gameplay, that would be really good, that you can say, okay, I am not only passive and hope that my minions do the work. No, I can protect them for a short amount of time. That would be so cool, you know? That you have some active gameplay in there. Yeah, exactly. Like the Stone Signet from Ranger. Something like that, that you have some, you know, that the passive gameplay of minions is not passive anymore, because you can actually protect them, you know? If you use it at the wrong time, it doesn't make a difference, you know? You still will lose your minions. But if you use it the right time, when a Willbender engages, your minions will survive and can deal damage. I think that would make a lot of sense, you know? At least in my opinion. I mean, it's hard to know what they can do technically, but I think it works to some extent, you know? And I also really enjoy, for example, the minions that the Reaper can summon, Rise minions and stuff. That would be also really fun, that you run a Reaper that wants to have a lot of minions all the time, and you can protect them with shouts or something. So I'm currently not a part of any World vs. World build. I'm just running around with the people that are currently here, so I don't have any tips for you there. So sorry. But I feel like even if you're a solo player, you always have some people to run around with, so it's actually not that big of a problem. But of course, if you want to have some really organized fights, then you might want to look out for some guilds, yeah. So Elementalist minions are also a different thing. I think they buffed them quite well, that you can now have minions multiple times with the lesser Elemental Signet. That makes sense, but they have the same problem, that they easily die if you focus them. They are a little bit more valid because they have more damage and more healing than the Necromancer minions, but I think they have the same problem in the sense that they are still minions, you can't really control them. I think the AI in this game is just bad. The only good AI they had was the Smokestail interrupts before they nerfed it, because it was always interrupting key skills, always in PvP. But now they nerfed it, now it's not a knockdown anymore. So in the end, it's not work. It's still back to the old AI is not working in Guild Wars 2. Yeah. The thing is, you last week, or this Friday, was the relink. And now you have, for the next couple of weeks, you have the same team. So it's always, it takes a few weeks, even months, until the next relink happens. So now you will stay with this team for the next couple of weeks. So yes, that might be true that you have a weird point now because you have different people on your team, but that will stay now with the same different people. So if that makes sense, of course. Yeah. So what other builds are there that I want to rework if I had the option? I think it's hard to say. I think Untamed. I never really enjoyed an Untamed. I think the class mechanic is not really interesting. It's just complex, you know. It's just you have to be really good at it to make it work, like Boys. And even then, it's not worth it, you know. Boys doesn't play it anymore. So I think they should rework it to some extent, that it is worth it to learn, you know, but not oppressive like before. So I think it's a hard task. And I also think they should buff Holosmith. I think Holosmith is not in a good spot. Yeah, I don't know. Exactly, Untamed is Core Ranger, which I don't like, you know. It should be something new, you know. So for example, if you look at Tempest, or if you look at Willbender, it changes the class completely, you know. You get a completely different playstyle than you would normally have. And this is fun, you know. But Untamed, you just play Core Ranger in a better way, because you have more buttons to press and more control over your AI, over your pet, you know? So why not make the commands that you get with Untamed baseline for Core Ranger, and then give Untamed something interesting, you know? Something that makes the build fun in a different way, you know? I think that would be really interesting, you know? Yeah, Lex, we talked about Bladezone first. I think Bladezone is probably the highest tier, together with Weaver. Those two, I think, are my biggest contenders for the reworks, for sure. Because they are, especially in the competitive modes, just completely trolling if you play those most of the time. Don't get me wrong, you can run a Staff Weaver in World versus World in a Circ and try to deal a lot of damage. Yes, that might work. But I'm talking about some really interesting builds that you can run solo and are not reliant on your team in that sense, you know. Yeah, I think Untamed is definitely on a rework way as well. But to be fair, I think Untamed was always in that territory, you know. They never had an interesting thing as Untamed, you know. So I think that there was one trait that gave you lifesteal, or no, not lifesteal, gave you recharge when you CC an enemy. That was so good that they completely removed it now. But this trait was really fun. That made the class really interesting, you know. But now they removed it completely, so it's just boring again. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree that Catalyst also feels like it's completely just Core Elementalist with another button. That is true, but I think the traits of Catalyst are actually what makes the build good, you know. The Sphere is nice in the sense it gives you more button, but I think the traits in Catalyst actually make the build interesting, because the idea of having to think about which combo fields you use to get the auras to the corresponding attunement you're currently in, I think this is really interesting. So I agree that the skills you get are boring, but the mechanic that you get with the aura, this is really interesting. So I think this is what Catalyst is, why it's okay. But Untamed, in my opinion, is like, it just plays exactly the same like a Core Ranger with more skills, and that's why I don't like it, you know. They should give it some really interesting way, you know? Even the trades don't help that much, you know? Yes, you can get some quickness, but oh wow, that's not that crazy. Yeah, so, and Bladezone, I would say definitely good points here by the chat, that if we could move, that would be helpful. I think if they make it somewhat less punishing to be in the Dragon Trigger form, that is true. Because now I think you just get punished for being in there, and then you don't even get a stun anymore on your Dragon Trigger, so it's just feeling really weak. So yeah, that's the biggest problem, I feel like. But also I think Bladezone is not really... They don't want it to be really good, because oftentimes people get one-shot by the Dragon Trigger, especially bad people in competitive modes. And then they might complain, oh, it's such a big hitting skill, I don't want that. But in the end, it's really easy to dodge if you know the tell. So I think they should make it fair, so that it hits hard enough so that you have to dodge it, but it's also somewhat easy to dodge, so that you can bait dodges with it, and I think that's important as well. No, I get the roleplay of Untamed. That is true, but I feel like the skills that it provided, you know, the fun, you know, I want to have an elite spec that changes the gameplay of my class that I play. So if I play Tempest, it feels totally different than a Catalyst, you know, because Catalyst is really fast paced. You press a lot of buttons. Tempest is way more. You think about all the skills that you have to use, because the cast time of your overloads is insane, you know. So it feels totally different. For Untamed, if you give a player Untamed and Core Ranger, they feel almost the same, just that a Core Ranger has less buttons to press. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I like the idea of Untamed, but they should just give it a little bit more interesting skills, you know? I think Soul Beast at least has some really big changes to the class, you know? Can delete your pet. That's interesting, you know? That's something new. And also Druid. Druid gives you access to the Celestial Avatar. It's completely different in the sense that you get completely new skills. It's like a Death Shroud to some extent. So yeah, I would say Soul Beast is feels like a warrior. That's why Boys plays it, because it's almost like a warrior, and Boys is just a warrior main by heart. That is true. But in the end, I would say a lot of classes are like that. That the elite spec is just a different take on another class. So the Willbender is a different take on a thief, you know? And I think that's fine, because a lot of people only play one class, and if you get access to stuff that normally other classes only have, I think that is fine. But the problem for me is that the Untamed doesn't really give you a new take on anything, because it just gives you a new take on Core Ranger, which is not needed because you are on the same class, you know? That's what I feel like is the issue here. But that's also why I don't really enjoy Catalyst that much, just from a design perspective, because it's not giving me totally new gameplay, you know, it feels like a core elementalist. But you have to think a bit more. That's the same with Untamed, you know. But yeah, that's just how it is, you know. Not every elite spec has to make you really happy, you know. So the point of having more than the runes that I already have. So currently I'm having, of course, 6 runes, but I'm also having the legendary rune on the Aqua Breeder. Makes total sense, of course, because I have a rare Aqua Breeder with the 7th rune. But if you don't care about the Aqua Breeder, then 6 runes is the only thing that you need, for sure. And for the sigils, you need, of course, for all your weapons 1, so 4. And then on the water, you can have other classes can have that. Oh no, they're coming. You can have up to 2 weapons, so they all have it. But in the end, if you don't care about underwater combat, then there is no reason to go for it. There's really no reason. So 6 and 4 is totally fine, I would say, for 99% of the players. I'm just did it because I want to have all of legendaries, you know. I want to have legendary in every hole. Yeah. So that's why I would do it. If you don't care about it, you can wait for it. And also I would say they are not that useful. To be honest, most of the time, most of my builds, you see, I don't even equip it, you know, even though I have it, because I'm too lazy. Yeah, so it's not something that you really need. Yes, this one here is a Blish Hut add-on. So Blish Hut is this one, an add-on that is allowed by ArenaNet. You can just use it, and one of the modules that you can download is this one, where you can see the ranks that you got in this session and the kills. It uses the API, so it's not something incredibly offensive. It's just you can just use it without any problems. Yeah, exactly. I think it's something that you can do in the future. Get the runes and shitches when you really have more stuff that you want to consume, more materials that you have lying around. But in the end, it's not worth it for most players, for sure. I mean, I'm really interested if they would are considering something like this to add more weapons, like different. Yeah, I'm not sure, because they said they will have some interesting combat changes with the next expert, you know. So Soto gave you access to all the weapons that a class can use. So for example, a longbow on a firebrand, you know, that was with Soto, and they gave you a new weapon. With Chancia Wilds, they only gave every single class spear, which was previously only usable underwater. But they said they will have similar game-changing gameplay add-ons with the next expansion. Maybe we will get some dual casting, like Scepter or something. I'm not sure. Maybe they will just give every single class a new weapon. You know, just another one. Or maybe they will give us elite specs. That would be fun as well. You know, give us elite spec without a new weapon. Just a trade line. That would be really cool. I hope so, because that would make a lot of new build crafting possible. I don't know. Depends a little bit on how much time and effort they want to put in this. Because I think, for me, in my opinion, this is the biggest feature of the X-Spec. I think Chancia Wilds, the spear, is the biggest feature for me. And I think also for End of Dragons and stuff, most of the time the elite specs is the thing why I enjoy the expansions. You know, if End of Dragons didn't have elite specs, I think it would have been a really bad expansion. Just because I really enjoy having more build crafting possible, you know? And that's what's lacking in the new expansions to some extent. Especially Soto didn't have that much, you know, because there was just one weapon that you now use for all the elite specs, because it's just the best weapon. For example, in PvE, Warhorn for Elementalist is the best damage option. So every single build uses Warhorn now, if it wants to deal damage. Maybe they will add Trident or Harpoon Gun, but at the same time, I feel like Harpoon Gun wouldn't make that much sense, just of a design perspective, because it's just a rival at this point, you know. And Trident is just maybe Trident, yeah, maybe, but it's just like a magical spear to some extent, or feels like another take on a spear. So I'm not totally sure. Yeah, exactly. It's like a combination of spear with staff or something. That is true, but in the end, I'm not sure if they would do that, you know, because it would just be, we don't have a good idea. Let's do the same idea that last time worked so well with the spear, you know. I'm not completely sure about that. Yeah. Okay, I guess we do one more giveaway. Now that we are a little bit safe here, maybe. Exclamation mark in the chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. We will give away 3 Blackline skins. We're almost through here. Very nice. So you have 30 more seconds. I hope you are all entered. Okay, now it's time. Let's see who wins this time. And it's Zoro. Congrats to you. Please let me know your account name in chat again. And all the people that did not win, no worries. We will do another one just after this one. Congrats to Zoro. Hope you're still here. I hope this time it's correct with the letters. Let's see if it works. Perfect. Congrats again. And the next giveaway is up. Exclamation mark and in the chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. I will pull the winner in 30 minutes. Yeah, so I think good point by Roaming Spirit here. I think it's really important that they not only add new stuff, but also look at the old stuff in a sense that they have to rework it or to make it work, you know. If they only add new weapons in the future and don't rework old ones that are underused or just bad because they got power crept, so to say, other weapons would be way better, for example, then it feels bad, you know. I think some reworks, for example, the sword rework on Ranger, I really enjoyed because it was still keeping the spirit of the sword, but it made it new and a little bit more usable, you know. This is really cool. And I think new weapons I'm pretty sure I'm not sure if they would go for new weapons just because there are so many already, you know. They should just make reworks, maybe rework every single trait line that is underused. So every single class gets a new core trait line. That would be really cool. That would be actually way more groundbreaking than a new weapon, in my opinion. So for example, if Elementalist, thanks for the follow, King. I would say that would be really important, that we get more options for build crafting without cluttering the new skills. That would be interesting. But I fear it's not that crazy. I think they will not go that far. I don't know, maybe. But I really doubt it, actually. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think there are builds for Catalyst with staff, but I think it's fine to have builds that are not working that well. For example, if you have Catalyst with staff, that doesn't feel that great because you don't have your Shade Sphere with the same range as your staff. But that's okay, you know. Not every single weapon has to work with every single spec, you know. So that is fine for me, you know. For example, a Willbender with a longbow is in most cases not really that smart because all your virtues are made for being used in melee range, you know. So a longbow feels a little bit weird, you know. But that is totally fine in my opinion because that's just how the class should be, you know. Not every single weapon should be used by all the class, all the elite specs, you know. At least in my opinion, you know. And yeah, I think you're right there, Wolf, that Elementalist specs are not really made for being ranged. But it's also really hard to design something like that, wouldn't you say? So how would it be? I don't know. How would you design an elite spec for Elementalist that is made for being ranged? You know, what would you do? You know? Yeah, for PvE, I agree that to some extent it might be easier, but at the end of the day, I would say in PvE, all the people are running as together stacked as at melee range most of the time. So for PvE, I would not say that's much of an issue, you know. I don't know. I think elite specs should be just fill a niche, and if there is a weapon for it, then it's perfect. But I think it should not be like you should design an elite spec and say every single weapon has to work with it. I think that's not something that I want to. Because then they will never get it, you know, in the end. Yeah, it's definitely true that the new weapons, like the spears, but also to some extent old weapons, for example, the pistol for Elementalist, all those are actually a mini elite spec, you know. They are so different in the sense of what they do than the previous weapons that it feels like it's almost like a half elite spec. That is true. But I feel like elite specs, that's the important thing here. A weapon just changes your weapon. An elite spec can change your whole build because you have to adjust your traits, you know. You have to think about it, how they interact with each other. So I think an elite spec is a little bit more build crafting possibilities than just a weapon. Yeah. So that's what I don't really like, you know. That they always go for weapons and clutter the game with new weapons for new people, especially to learn. But the build crafting doesn't really go up that much because most of the time it's just really, really good, and you have to use it on most builds. So Mesmer Spear is just insanely good. So you just use it on all Mesmer builds that are somewhat power related. It's not about build crafting. It's just better than every single other option, you know. I think maybe I would be really surprised if they would add some new elite specs, full-blown elite specs. I would really surprised if they did that, but I would really like it. I would really like it, for sure. But in the end, that's just speculation. We don't know what they will do. They said there will be a big feature. I don't know what it will be. Could be anything at this point, to be honest. So, let's see. I hope that they just have a big rework in the next balance patch, which will be in February. And I think Crouch said that in an interview once. I don't have the quote here, but I'm very confident that he said that, because that was one of the things that was in my mind when I looked at the new expansions and thought, okay, maybe we get something cool then. But oh, there are a lot of people here. No, they're all coming. No. Let me just do my 101. So Revenant for World vs. World is actually really good. So Condi Herald is really good for roaming. And for Cirque Play, Vindicator is really good. Even Herald is really good. So there are actually a lot of builds that you can use for Revenant in World vs. World, for sure. Yeah, I think that it's a good spec. I think it's one of the most balanced ones. It's not completely broken, but at the same time, it's all the elite specs can be used to some extent. Even Renegade is used to some extent. It's good. You should give it a try. Yeah, and I really enjoy the spear, because the spear is I think some really good addition to Condi Rev. That is for sure. Okay, let's play some PvP. So Mesmer is in a weird spot for roaming. So Mesmer for roaming in World vs. World, I would say you could go, of course, with Virtuoso. You can play some power spear Virtuoso. But most of the people actually run some really annoying stealth, Condi, confusion Virtuoso, which is really annoying. And if you don't like the playstyle of a rather slow-paced match where you just want to stealth all the time and just draw out the fight and stuff, have a lot of blocks and so on. I would say the other option that you could go is for Spear Power Mirage or Spear Chrono even. Something really bursty. But both of those have the problem that in World vs. World, in contrast to PvP, the enemies oftentimes are running toughness, you know? And then your burst might not be able to kill them in one go. And then you have a problem. And therefore, I would say the best option is probably some kind of Power Virtuoso with Spear. It's some fun build, it's rather mobile, it has some range damage, some nice power damage. I think this is probably the best option for roaming. If you don't want to play an annoying build. I would say the Condi build is probably the safest one, but at the same time it's also really annoying to play if you want to flip some camps or something. That's just annoying. So that's my take. I'm a little bit biased because I don't really enjoy Virtuoso. I think Virtuoso is the weakest elite spec for competitive Mesmer play because I don't really enjoy it. I play Mesmer to have some fast-paced and instant cast skills, especially on my shatters. And Virtuoso takes that away from me, so I don't like it. But that's just my personal bias. I would say it's still probably the best elite spec for roaming. Yeah. But you might just give it a try. Everything that I just said might just be personal, and maybe you have way more, you know, winning matchups and way more success with playing all the elite specs. But I think Mesmer is rather weak. It's not the best one for roaming. I think the best classes for roaming currently are definitely Thief, Elementalist, and Necromancer, and Guardian to some extent with Willbender. Those are the better ones. The other ones are either weak or medium, in my opinion. I would say Mesmer and Engineer are probably the weakest. Maybe Warrior as well, those three.
You've lost Lion.
Very good Moor. Sad, in the last second I got killed. I really dislike this. The new Moa change, I could have dodged it, but I was not expecting it. Unlucky. This is an unranked. I don't want to play all the time 2v2s because 2v2s feel really... I'm not a big fan of 2v2s as a solo queue player. So I want to have some conquest matches and have some fun playing the normal game mode. So for Power Mesmer build, I actually, after this match I can send you the link on my YouTube channel. I actually have a build guide about this. Which the build that I like the most. It is extremely... has a huge amount of damage. Holy shit. He's gone.
Captured the field.
Blocking.
Oh, that had to hurt.
Protected. Bring them to justice. Fury rising.
Target identified. Soften them up.
What a match.
You've lost the field. The Colosseum's artifacts
Sword
are
buff on
accruing
Willbender.
power.
I know, really nice. Yeah, I will link you the build in a minute or so. When I have time, when I died or when I... But it's a power, shatter, spear build.
artifacts have reached maximum power.
Higher ground again, Mesmer. Okay, give me a second, I will try to find it. Maybe I find it in time. So this should be the build. It's up to date, but like I said, it might not be the best roaming build right now, just because there are so many other strong options.
Blue team has obtained an artifact.
Protected.
The damage is insane.
Blue team has obtained an artifact.
Oh no, they have 2 artifacts. Now we have a problem. Maybe we go on this guy. I don't want to cap here because I feel like if I leave my people alone, then they will die. Okay, this one is dead.
Protected. Fury rising.
You've captured dragon.
No letting up. Advance. Fast as the wind.
Nice, we got one.
Need more endurance.
You've captured the field.
Bring them to justice.
Target identified.
You have to kill the power mesmer. Where's the power mesmer?
The Colosseum's artifacts are accruing power.
I'm exposed.
How many people died here?
I don't have enough
I did not expect to get all of them with one teleport in here.
twice next time.
But I guess it worked out.
As the wind.
The
Hello,
artifacts
hello.
have reached maximum power.
Don't forget to enter the giveaway. I will draw the winner in 15 minutes. Exclamation mark enter in the chat.
You've lost dragon.
Oh, the mesmer's coming as well. I think I have a problem.
Red
Yeah,
team
too
has
much.
obtained an artifact.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's currently, I think off-season is always a weird spot to play PvP in. But I actually enjoy it right now. The match is quite interesting. Okay, he didn't cap. Nice. So it's going quite well, I would say.
You've captured dragon.
You have to kill the power mesmer. Please give me a target. Got him.
Beautiful blend of
Look at the damage. I have sword buff, 7k F1 hit. Nice.
You've lost life.
Sounds fair.
You've captured the field.
I am mighty. Take the initiative.
I think he doesn't have a dodge anymore after this invite.
Target identified.
I mean, there are 4 people here, so I have to be careful.
You've lost Lion.
Protected.
Oh, unlucky.
The Colosseum's artifacts are accruing
Yeah, it's
power.
actually crazy. That actually can only happen in unranked, I would say, winning with a mech.
Fast as the wind. Relentless.
The artifacts have reached maximum power.
Fury rising.
You've captured Lion.
Protect. I am mighty.
Nice, we got him. Yeah, I think Co-Engineer is better than Mechanist, for sure. Even the winner of the last season, Hollow, played a lot of
You've lost
core,
the field.
core engineer. That's what I meant to say.
You've lost Dragon.
Fury rising.
Top player healing as a Wilben. Okay.
Your team is victorious.
Yeah, I think Engineer is in a really weird spot at the moment. Just because all the elite specs are not that good, and then you see Core Engineer pop off because Core Engineer has a lot of tools and Spear is working really well, especially with this reskill. Yes, definitely. If you have top healing as a Willbender, there's something wrong. But it's unranked, you know, anything can happen. So I'm just playing for some fun and some entertaining matches. I think this one was actually quite close for that. So I liked it, you know. Maybe we can play some Power Harbinger and show that off. Let's see. And then 10 more minutes and we will do another giveaway. But like I said, off-season is always not that... I'm not really a fan of it. But the good thing is it ends in a few days. And we get hopefully a new season. Let's see what probably a new ranked season. Really good. Yeah, I think Core Engineer is underrated. I think it works quite well with a lot of weapons actually, but it's not like crazy, you know. It's not like you get rank 1 with playing Core Engineer by itself, you know. You have to be good, and I mean, Hollow was doing a lot of off-time queuing and carrying matches that are just really, you know, hard to win. Here we have another Spear Engineer, but it's a mech. Let's see, what can we play? Let's play some Harbinger. Where is it? There. Yeah, I think Moa is really interesting. But I think the problem is that the tool belt skill is actually better than the actual skill, the actual elite skill. So I think Mortar Kit is just really strong. So I don't know. I think Core Engineer, you have to like it to play it. I think it's not by itself the most broken build. There are way better ones. For example, this one. This is extremely strong. You're playing really defensive, but you actually have a lot of damage as well. You even have quickness access, you have corrupts, you have toughness because you're playing Demolisher. And
The match
it's really fun.
starts soon.
Exactly. I mean, I really enjoy the rework that they did years ago with the mortar kit, because the mortar before was just unused, and now it's really valid. You know, you have so many fields that you can combo with, especially the water field is extremely cool,
Hold on to
but
your
also the
point.
blind field can be really helpful. So let's see how this match goes. So I'm playing Spear Necromancer and Sword. We have here, it's a thief. Thanks for the follow, Lux.
Blinded.
Sad. Almost got it. What? So unlucky.
Mansion captured.
On my mark. Attack. Protected.
Enemy captured the windmill. Clock tower captured. Enemy captured the mansion.
Really interesting match. You can see Harbinger is actually really tanky. I have a lot of passive healing and a lot of barrier and stuff, so that helps a lot. And the lifesteal is actually really helping as well. It's a really fun build actually.
Protected. Fury rising.
Let's see. Yeah, it's enter, not giveaway.
I'm bleeding.
Mansion captured.
Interesting.
Enemy captured the windmill.
I am dead.
Really nice. There are actually a lot of fractal committed guilds. If you're looking for a high-end guild, you should go for Discretize. But if you want to just have a PvE guild that does fractals, I think you just have to maybe ask in map chat, or I don't know a lot of guilds because I'm not that committed to guild gameplay. But
Captured.
there are actually a lot of guilds that would do that. Support guard pushing into the Harbinger. That's how you do it. So please, guys, don't do that. It's just a stupid decision. Even on my cap point, it's... So I'm using
Enemy
the
captured
Blish Hut add-on with the mouse cursor, but you can of course also use YOLO mouse, because I feel like in Guild Wars 2 you lose a lot of times where the mouse is, and I think that is really important that you have the ability to just always know where your skills are landing. That's just the most important thing, I would say, in PvP and all game modes actually, for that matter.
Clock tower
So YOLO mouse I would recommend, or Blish Hut, the add-on that I'm using.
and beyond.
You see, it's actually really strong how much healing I have baseline. That hit! That hit. Very nice. How did he steal all my boons? So sad. No, you can play. You can be on an A or EU for the server. It doesn't matter.
Enemy captured the windmill.
Yes, sure. I can type it in chat. It's called Blish Hut, but like I said, you can use YOLO mouse as well. Those are both fine. He double dodged. Now he's dead. So everyone can win, except for people that are on Chinese servers, but I guess they will not watch my stream then. So EU and NA have the same mailing system and same trading post system.
Enemy captured the clock tower.
So I'm using my mouse for movement, and I'm using Q and E on my
Windmill captured.
keyboard, because this movement is Q and E, just wiggling back and forth, and if I at the same time press both of my mouse buttons, I will be able to move forward as well. That's why it's extremely fluid, my movement, I would say. Hello, hello. I'm playing the class of your name.
Protected.
The range on that is actually insane.
Enemy captured the mansion.
Are we losing this match? It's actually not possible. I'm not dying. I'm not doing anything. Yeah, I'm referring to Harbinger. Yeah. You see, my damage is actually quite impressive for that I'm not even team fighting, you know. No, two people.
Windmill captured.
Oh, I would have gotten out if I pressed it my worm faster. Oh, so sad. Yeah, Blishard, thanks for writing it in the chat. Yeah. Hello, Cool Hand as well. Yes, my name is actually not, my class is not Hand or something, so that's true. How is this match so close? It's insane. I mean, I guess we have another mech, so that's the problem. Yeah. You don't even see all the healing because barrier and stuff doesn't count if it's... so my healing is actually way higher. Oh, there's someone. Easy target, let's see.
Enemy captured the windmill.
Protected.
Mansion captured.
I'm against 3 people right now, and I'm not dying. That's actually quite impressive, I would say. Let me... Can my team help me, please? No, they can't. Sad. Welcome, welcome. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. Exclamation mark end in the chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. We will draw the winner after this match, which is really soon.
Enemy captured the mansion.
Yeah, exactly. If you hold them for long enough, it's working. I mean, top DPS. Actually, a lot of damage. Yeah. Worked out. Okay, so now giveaway time. Last chance. 30 more seconds. Let's see. Maybe this one. And that one. And that one. We're almost out of them. So last few giveaways. Okay, last chance. Hope you're all in. You have to be a Twitch follower to win, so be sure to have followed already. And thanks for the follow name. And let's see. The winner is Buntashi. I hope you're still here. Congrats, you just followed. So perfect. Congrats to you. And let me know your account name in chat, please, so that I can send it to you. No worries, we will have more giveaways. At least until my my skins run out. Perfect, congrats to you. And that's also it for today's stream. I will stream again on Tuesday. Hope to see you all there. Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow, subscribe, you know the drill. Check out my YouTube channel if you want to see some build guides, some guides in general, stuff about Guild Wars. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope to see you next time. See you. Thanks for watching.